Good afternoon, all you cool cats out there. This is Elwood Blues, speaking to you from the United Kingdom. I'll wait until some of you cats get on here and realize that we got broadcasts to do. So we'll just hang out. Okay, we're like hanging out. What's wrong with this platform? I don't understand. Good afternoon. It's Elwood Blues of the Blues Brothers talking to you right here on Coffee Break Live Update, June 16th, 2020. Greetings. This episode is all about the hidden power and spiritual freedom. Good afternoon. Howdy. You see, all of us here, we're on a mission from God, or Goddess, depending on your vernacular. So I just thought I'd stall this. I just stumbled onto this disguise, this Blues Brothers thing with the pork pie hat and the Ray-Bans, quite by accident. So I'm going to turn it off now so you don't all freak out and everything. And if I can figure out how to turn it off, I don't know if I can. How do you get rid of this thing? Maybe that's it. Nope, that's not it either. That's not it. Hi, Nancy. Somebody please tell me how to get rid of this disguise. So fun. There we go. All right. We're back to normal. It's Coffee Break Live Update, episode 12, here on the Facebook channel. Okay. Welcome once again to everyone who's tuning in. I just found this crazy Blues Brothers pork pie hat and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes these things are fun, but being silly is one of the ways to relieve not just boredom, but also stress. So I just thought it'd be silly for a bit and take a line from the Blues Brothers movie and say, okay, yeah, we're all here on a mission from God. So today's subject is the hidden power and spiritual freedom. Now, that hidden power is a double entendre. But before I get into all that, we're less than 2 days or 48 hours away from Mercury Retrograde in Cancer, which starts at around 5 o'clock in the morning on the morning of the 18th here in the United Kingdom. So that'll be in the morning of the 17th in the United States, North America, South America, etc. And it'll be retrograding or retrograding, at 14 degrees Cancer. And Venus is still retrograde at 6 degrees Gemini. We still have Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn all retrograde. And soon it'll be joined by Neptune. So there you go. That's kind of the astro update, except a little bit more information on this eclipse coming up on the 20th, 21st, is that it's an annular eclipse if you live in the eclipse path, which is going to go across northern Africa, southern Africa, and then across the Middle East, the southern part of the Middle East, and down through Southeast Asia. In fact, the path of totality of this ring of fire eclipse, because it's called ring of fire because it's annular eclipse, so the moon looks like it's blocking only about 95% of the sun, and so there's this ring around it. So that's going to be called the ring of fire because it looks like Soren's ring of power, and it's going to be going just about across Hubei province in China, where Wuhan is. So I'm be really interested to see what that produces. This is a big eclipse at the 0 degree of Cancer called the world axis. By the way, which is also another reprise back to 9/11, the eclipse that happened just before 9/11 occurred. So, synchronicity abounds. History is nothing new. It repeats itself. It's a loopy thing, all right, until we change the loop. It's not a province of fate. It's a matter of choice, okay? All right, so what is this hidden power? The hidden power is a double entendre, and I'll explain that. In the last few posts that I've made, which reference Rudolf Steiner, electricity, electromagnetism, artificial electricity, in particular artificial EMF fields, the reason I'm bringing this up in the midst of all the other things that are big questions in society and cultural views and perspectives is that it's important to look for the underlying causes or things that create the domino effect and reasons for why there's still so much latent or hidden racism, so much hidden fear, so much hidden agendas, so many hidden agendas, whether they be political, economic, or otherwise. So wanting to know what is the hidden power behind those things. And in my research in the last 6 months, one of the things that has come up into my awareness is the influence or the effect of artificial electromagnetic fields, i.e. man-made ones, on the planetary psychic atmosphere. You know, the ionosphere, the Schumann resonance, our biological makeup, and all those things have an impact on our minds and our mental emotional states, our psychic space that we live in, the psychic space of the planet that we live in and on. And so, interestingly enough, one of the books that that I like to quote from you from is actually referencing Rudolf Steiner again, which I find to be very interesting. And the quote here is from the author Jeremy Nadler in his book, The Struggle for a Human Future. The outpouring of new electronic products and devices, and that includes networks, wireless networks, etc., doesn't happen by itself. Behind it are human beings who have ideas and inspirations, but they are not aware of the source from which these ideas and inspirations come, nor do they reflect deeply on the consequences of realizing them. Thus, human beings are drawn into the service of power whose existence they know nothing of. There's echoes of Paul in one of his letters in the New Testament about the struggle is not against other human beings or the planet or flesh. It's the struggle that humanity has is with unseen hidden powers. And this is, as I mentioned before, referenced in every indigenous culture, every shamanic tradition across the planet, and a lot of mainstream religions. Now, how do you understand what this influence or this power is? Well, in basic fundamentalist circles, they call it Satan or Lucifer, or, you know, demons or whatever. But in more sophisticated circles, it's the Watchers or the Djinn or the Flyers or the Archons in Gnostic tradition. But one of the things that's important to realize that the other side of this hidden power thing is that they don't have any real power. It's sort of like boogeymen, you know, when you were a kid and you were hanging out at night by yourself in your bedroom and you heard some kind of sound or noise inside the closet and you just got all freaked out because there's something in the closet, you know, what's in the closet? And the boogeyman under the bed and all these different kind of very, very primal subterranean subconscious fears. It's sort of like that. It's like as long as you stay in a place of forgetting who you are and forgetting that, you know, that which gave you life and which gives you life is eternal, is loving, is all-powerful, all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent, then what do you have to be afraid of? Okay, we're dealing in this instance in the human story, in the home story, as it is called by the modern Gnostics, the home story of Earth. We are dealing with a very, very strong sense of disempowerment and separation from home, from source. And we're seeing this further exacerbated by the technology and what's behind the technology. It's seductive. It you know, TVs were the first thing, you know, the seductiveness of that 60 cycle pulsed light that's coming through the screen, drawing the viewer in. And all of a sudden, the left brain shuts down, the right brain, the gateway to the subconscious is opened up, and you're sitting there mesmerized. Well, that same principle is involved with all of the technology that we are currently engaged with: laptops, desktop screens, any kind of LCD, TFT monitor, smartphone screens, television screens, of course, widescreen or otherwise. They are a light, an artificial light, an electronically based light that is shining out to draw you in. But it is a counterfeit light. It is counterfeit for the light that gives you life, i.e. sunlight. And a byproduct of that, in terms of the climate of the planet and the climate effects of natural background magnetic fields, is lightning. And lightning is very important. But, I was just watching, somebody sent me a video about the Schumann resonance. And the Schumann resonance is a fascinating story because when it was first discovered, it was discovered independently of anything having to do with biological research. And Schumann was like, well, this is a very interesting discovery. I don't know what to call it, that the Earth pulses at 10 hertz or 10 cycles per second. And then later on, another scientist ran across his research and just went, oh, wow, this is amazing, because I just did all these brainwave studies and found out that the human brain resonates at approximately 8 cycles per second. They got together and discovered that the human brain and the Earth are pulsing at the same rate. Now, one of the conclusions somebody drew from this is that it is the Schumann resonance, or the Earth pulse, that gives us life. I think that that's both true at a very esoteric level, because in the Gnostic tradition, the Earth is our mother. It's a manifestation of the body, the cosmic light body, if you will, of the Aeon or goddess Sophia. Now, that's a Gnostic story or a Gnostic mythos, and a mythos is always based on some kind of fact. It doesn't matter what mythos it is. So that had resonance. Our brains default to 7.83 cycles per second, or 7.83 hertz. So does the planetary pulse. The planetary pulse is also reflected in the ionosphere. And so the ionosphere is actually the translator of gamma radiation, solar radiation, and everything that actually helps life actually happen on a biological scale. So we got the sun, we've got lightning, we've got the electrical, very, very low level millivolt layers of electricity within our brain, our synapses, or the human circuitry. This stuff was documented thousands of years ago by Chinese scientists, Taoist scientists, and came up with the whole Ayurvedic system and the whole energy map of the human body. And it's our etheric body that is resonating with the ionosphere. So it's not just the pulse of the Earth's core, it's the pulse of the mantles of electromagnetic atmospheres that go around the planet. So let's get back to the hidden power. The hidden power is that we have the consciousness to resist this pernicious incursion of interference from non-corporeal consciousnesses that are inimical to human evolution and to human peace and human, human creativity. And that whole fear, that whole boogeyman scenario is easily diffused as soon as you realign yourself to what the truth of who you are is, which is you're a divine expression in fractal form, and you happen to be navigating this reality through a human field, a human body, and your humanity is just as important as your divinity, and therefore, what do you have to fear? You're more powerful than any artificial intelligence that would try to undo your natural, predetermined spiritual DNA and genetic core. It just can't happen unless your lower consciousness or your ego consciousness goes into fear and then wonders about the noise in the closet and the boogeyman under the bed and what if I'm not doing the right thing? It's called self-trust, isn't it? It's called self or spiritual freedom. the ability to decide and choose who you are and how you're going to show up on the planet at any single moment of time. So even though they're rolling out 5G and there could be 6G and there could be 7G, and even though we're, completely, sort of seemingly at the mercy of ideologues and technocrats who want to beam 5G down from space from 65,000 satellites, it doesn't mean we're powerless to prevent that from happening or change it. It doesn't mean we're powerless to investigate or demand investigation into the effects of artificial electromagnetic fields on human biology and the biology of all the other species on the planet. And I include plants in that equation as well. So if you want to know what the hidden power is for you, connect with light, natural light. I've got a light thing on my face so that you can see me better. I'm talking through an LCD screen. I've got an LCD screen on my computer. And you know what? It's so easy to get drawn in. It's so easy to get drawn in by the dead, lifeless light, the cold light of technology. Get outside. Open your eyes. Don't wear shades once in a while, all right? Your retinas aren't going to burn up by being exposed to some degree directly to sunlight, because the sunlight isn't just light, it's life, and it carries cosmic, divine information that only your pineal gland can translate. That's why I talked a few episodes ago about getting your pineal gland decalcified and keeping it clear. So this is sort of self-help speciality day, a self-help prompter or trailer, if you will, to try to emphasize how powerful you are, how powerful I am, how powerful we are together if we choose to resist any kind of incursion on our sovereignty and freedom. Our spiritual sovereignty and freedom is the same thing as our human sovereignty and freedom. I don't know if you can find it anywhere, but I ran across a musician the other day, amazing voice, she's absolutely incredible, French, I think, who wrote a song called Freedom, and I'm going to share it on my channel here, on my timeline. It's on SoundCloud, I think. But she was inspired to write this song based on a well-forgotten, probably, or little-known book called The End of All Evil by Jeremy Locke. Now, I found a PDF of this, and I'm sure anybody could do if they want to do the search. It's a phenomenal book, only 98 pages long. And I highly recommend that, okay? I'll also post a link to the video about the Schumann resonance. And, this is the stuff we need to be waking up to in order to complete and diffuse all the karma around race and divisions amongst different people and ethnicities and ethnic traditions, to discover at some point, which is what I see coming anyway in the next generation, the generation being born now, is the end of a lot of the things that people are trying desperately to hang on to now, which are the old structure of the patriarchy, the old structures of religion, the old structures around economics and top-down capitalist philosophy. We can make a decision around how we choose to be empowered and show up in the world, and it's not going to happen by trying to reform the old system. Please let go of that. Please let go of this idea. It's not going to be a popular thing to swim against the mainstream and say, okay, well, I'm going to leave Facebook or I'm going to leave Instagram and I'm going to, limit or completely eliminate my time online or keep it to an absolute minimum so that I can actually function in the world conscious and aware of my connection to the planet, my connection to the cosmos, connection to my soul. So what we're faced with is the decision between convenience and flashing lights, or our soul and our real spiritual evolution and opening up to the light and the unconditional love that's connected to that. So if you're curious about how to do that, or if you've lost your way, or you're feeling so scattered you can't even figure out which end is up, please get in touch. This is something this has been my journey for the last 30 years. Actually, it's all my life, but it's been really pronounced the last 30 years from working with hundreds of clients and facilitating workshops and so forth, in the idea of not just, expanding consciousness, but actual spiritual hygiene. What are the technologies and tools available that can keep us clear, that can keep us focused, that can keep us pointed in the right direction? How do we get into the depths of understanding what the real story is, what our home story is, each one of us, and as a whole species? What is our real story in this planet? What is the real story of Earth? Every person has to decide what that feels like to them. I can't tell them, but I can point them in certain directions. I can share with you my experience, my journey, and my wisdom from that. But I cannot tell you how to live your life, nor how it should be lived. That's not my job. In fact, I have no right to do that. So if this information resonates with you, and I will start actually saying that before every one of these broadcasts. If any of this information resonates with you, keep it, play with it, experiment with it, and if it doesn't, check it out the window. Okay, I don't need a fan club. I don't want followers. I want you to be a leader, and I want to be a leader. I think it's about us being leaders together. So that's my message for today. Short and sweet, 20 minutes on the nose, and that's a first. So if you'd like to find out more, watch the links I'm going to put up in the comments. Try to get a hold of the book that I've just mentioned. Also Jeremy Nadler's book, which I'll show you here. It's probably going to show up backwards on this screen, but what it says is The Struggle for a Human Future. It's a very easy read, 6 essays. You'll be done with it, nothing flat. The subtitle is 5G. Oops, I said it. Hopefully I won't get banned. Augmented Reality and the Internet of Things. And it's one of many good ones coming out right now. It's amazing the timing of some of these books. But then again, maybe not so amazing considering Spirit, God, is saying, okay, it's time. The planet is saying, hey, it's time. Let's get on with it. We can realize a different kind of experience here. We can help in ways that we haven't yet fathomed. Just remember that no hidden power has anything over your hidden power. Only it's time to bring that hidden power of self and soul and connection out into the open and declare it openly. All right? So, blessings on your journey. If you have any questions or comments, please post them. Get in touch with me at isaac@isaacgeorge.com or isaacgeorge.com, the website, or you'll find me. I'm here. I'm around. All right, take care of yourselves. And until Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. British Summer Time, take care of yourselves. Over and out for now.